Hi, welcome to the 4 o'clock tour at the Rogue Brewery. I'm Chris Garrett. I'll be your brew tour guy. Let's go. All right, so what we've got here is a list of awards from 94 to 98. Since then, we've gone on to rack up over 300 awards at major beer competitions such as the Great American Brew Festival, World Beer Championships, and World Beer Cup. All due to this guy right here. This is John Meyer, 1988. He won the American Home Brewery Year Award. He's our brewmaster. It's a good year to remember because it's also the year we opened up our first pub in Ashland, Oregon. So what we've got is the brewery. It's got these great high ceilings because it used to be an old ship storage building. For all our intents and purposes, this has got to be a big-ass kitchen. We've got the cooking side on one side, and then on the other side, this side that we're in right now, this is pretty much our pantry area. This is where we have all the finest malts and grains from all over the world. If you've got a credit card and a telephone, you can have these grains shipped to you next day air. It'll be on your doorstep. What really sets us aside and the number one reason for our success is that pound for pound, we put more of these ingredients in our beer than anybody else. And the main reason behind that is John Meyer and his homebrewers mentality on a big batch system. Welcome to the cooler. We hold it at 42 degrees. 42 degrees is important because we use zero preservatives, zero additives in our beer. Anything to maintain an unnatural shelf life, we don't put it in our beer. So the number one reason for our success is the beer. Reason behind that, his name is Jack Joyce. He's our CEO. He's the guy who spends no money on anything for any reason whatsoever, and except for beer and charity. And that's our excuse as we come back to the brewery. We used to run off a 1952 Pepsi-Cola bottling line that we beat the heck out of for about 10 years and then sold it for the exact same amount that we bought it for. Off to the side over here, these fermenters came from a dairy farm. We wrapped them with glycol lines, shot them down with insulation, now they ferment beer. We bought this brew system, it's a 50-barrel system off a company that spent top dollar on it right off the bat. When they went under, we swooped in and bought it for dimes on the dollar. It's what we do, we're bottom feeders, we don't spend money unless we absolutely have to. These are our silos. They hold our bulk grains off to the side here. What happens is we shoot those into the milling room and then we add our specialty grains. From there it cracks it open so we can extract the fermentable sugars. Then we're going to throw that in the mash tun where we're going to steep them and pull all these out. The spent grain goes off to a dairy farm. I think they feed it to cows. But the liquid that's remaining is called wort. That wort gets shot over to the boiling bin where we start the boil, then through the hopper where we start the hopping process, and through to the whirlpool where we create a whirlpool. The sediment pulls to the middle, and then we grab that wort and we throw it into the fermenters where fermentation takes place. What we're going to do is we're going to add our top fermenting ale yeast called the Pac-Man yeast to all our ales. It's going to go through and it's going to feed on all those fermentable sugars. It's a byproduct of which is CO2 and alcohol. Right here we've got a great little example of CO2 busting off. Those little critters are in there feeding and they're releasing gases. They've got an escape valve off the top that releases down into this bucket right here. Essentially what's going on is we've got these little microorganisms that are in your beer. They're feeding on the fermentable sugars. They're releasing off CO2 by farting off CO2 and peeing off alcohol, and we're going to suck it down and love them for it. This is one of our filtration units. It's got layers of diatomaceous earth that acts as a physical filter and also as a chemical filter, and then it's charged with positive ions that grab onto the negative ions and blah, 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 blah. What we've got here is our 2005 bottling line. Jack Joyce did spend a little bit of money on it once. This thing can crank out up to 140 22-ounce bottles per minute if we were to let it fly. We hold it at about 80 bottles a minute, mainly because we don't know how to work on it and we don't want to break it. And these are our restrooms at the brewery. Each year, over 100,000 people use one of our urinals and toilet facilities. Requires a lot of cleaning. So what we've got here are some of our larger fermenters. They hold 180 barrels. A barrel is an old school system of measurement for what's roughly 2 of today's standard size kegs. So in each one of those, if you've got 180 barrels, you've got 360 kegs. Now a keg is roughly today, it's 2 pony kegs, so you've got 720 pony kegs in each one of these. And then if you want to break down the math a little bit further, if you want to drink a 6-pack a night for the next 26 and a half years, you too could finish off one of these big, beautiful fermenters all to yourself. And legally, all brew tours have to end in the gift shop. If you have your Rogue Nation identification cards, you're good to go. If not, we got to get you signed up. You get our 100% sent you in the mail every couple months. And then after that, we're going to get you 75 cents off every pint that you have at the pub for the rest of your life. 25% off all merchandise, 10% off the rooms upstairs at the Bed and Beer. We'll also notify you of upcoming events such as garage sales, dog washes, different parties that we're going to have. And that's what. All right, and here's the point where it ends for you and begins for me. I get to head up to the beer and have myself a bar, flip that and reverse it, and I get to have a beer, and you get to sit and do your whole little internet thing, or whatever you're going to do. But if you get a chance, come down and see us. We're here at the Rogue Ales Public Houses. We've got 8 of them all together. Come see us and have a beer. All right.